Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
We played well enough to win this game, but we certainly got to play better, particularly on offense. I don't think we played the way we need to play offensively. I thought the block punt was a big play in the game. I thought defensively we came up with a couple of red zone stops that I thought were, big in the game. And then our ability to finish in the red zone today was kind of the deciding factor. We finished drives and scored touchdowns down there. So there's some positive things, but obviously there's a lot of things we got to fix.
Dennis Allen, after the Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 28-6, the Saints moved to 6-7 on the season. They are now in a three-way tie with the Falcons and the Bucs for first place in the NFC South. The Bucs presently hold the tiebreaker, so Bucs, Falcons, and then Saints is how it stands right now with 4 games to play. So the Saints desperately needed a win. It was their first win since November the 5th when they won that game at home against the Chicago Bears. They needed a good vibe. They needed to get in the win column, not just for all of the ancillary reasons, but in a very literal sense, to get back into the race in the NFC South. If you had lost this game to Carolina, as we talked about, you would have been in a literal must-win situation the rest of the season where you were going to have to win out and likely get some help to be able to win the division and make the playoffs. But the Saints got the one that they absolutely had to get at home against the worst team in football, and they did it despite not playing their best. Let me remind you that on Sunday, going into the fourth quarter, Derek Carr had 37 passing yards. Let me say that again. Our grand leader, the emperor of empty yards, couldn't even manage the empty yards. He had 37 yards passing going in the fourth quarter. In total, the Saints put up 207 yards of offense for the entire game against a Carolina defense that's 28th in the NFL in total defense. Need I remind you, there are 32 NFL teams. Let's say this again slowly for context. Carolina, 28th in the NFL in total defense. The Saints, at home against that defense, put up 207 total yards. The Saints had 7 offensive points entering the fourth quarter. 7 offensive points entering the fourth quarter. Blake Grupe missed a 29-yard field goal. His field goal percentage for the season now is at 77%. I am so sick and tired of hearing some of you nincompoops come at me on Twitter for my criticism of Blake Grupe. In the year of our Lord 2023, the average field goal percentage in the NFL is hovering around 85%. Blake Grupe is at 77%. That is wholly unacceptable. You missed. You screwed up. You kept the wrong guy, period. Anyway, you can blame the laces being in and all that sort of stuff as Grupe just stared down at the holder. Hey, bro, it was 29 yards. Just push it through the upright. You snap hooked it like me playing Webb Park. Anyway, that's one of many problems the Saints have. All of that, and you won by 3 touchdowns. How bad are the Carolina Panthers? All of that, and you won by 3 touchdowns. We need to start having a conversation about the Carolina Panthers being the worst team in NFL history. I get there. I get it. We've seen a couple of no-win teams. I don't even know that those were as hapless as these Carolina Panthers. They're awful. Anyway, a lot of people still ask, hey, should we be excited that the Saints won the game? Yes. Yes, you should be excited that the New Orleans Saints won the game. I want to remind you, this organization was founded in 19 1967. In their entire 56-year history, the New Orleans Saints have made the playoffs just 14 times. 9 of those 14 were in the Peyton Breeze era. Essentially, outside of Sean Payton and Drew Brees, you have been arguably the worst franchise in the NFL. You had a glorious run. But let's not forget who you are by definition over the life of your organization outside of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. You can't eliminate them, but they are a smaller sample within the larger context of the organization at whole. So if you have an opportunity to win your division and go to the playoffs and host a playoff game, yes, I want that. Because if you win the division, it means you got things on track. If you win the division, it means you found a way to string together wins instead of doing what bad teams do, which is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Look at the Saints this year. We've done this exercise before. After winning your first 2 games, you went loss, loss, win, loss, loss, win, win, loss, 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 win. That's what bad teams do. You don't string together wins. So for the Saints to make the playoffs, they would have to string together wins. And yes, I want that. I want Derek Carr to figure it out. I want Dennis Allen to somehow find and unlock a switch that's going to work and make this team rally around him and then play better. Yes, I want that. I watched the New Orleans Saints as the defending champion go to Seattle and play a 7-9 division champion and get beast-quaked. Do I want the Saints to host a playoff game and have an opportunity to beat Dallas or Philly in the Dome? You're damn right I do. Yes, it's a good thing the New Orleans Saints won the game. I can't believe I even have to say that. Now, I understand your point of view because I don't think what I just described is going to happen. I don't think the Saints are going to figure it out and go string together 4 straight wins and make the playoffs. I think over their final 4 games, they're going to go 2-2. I think they got a good shot to beat the Giants. They probably lose to the Rams and the Bucs on the road. And then maybe they come home, feel ththemselves a litlittle bit, and with nothing to play for, beat Atlanta in the final weekend. And I think that's probably how it goes. And they finish, as a 8-9 football team. And they lose the tiebreaker and don't win the division. That's probably how I think it's going to happen. But am I excited that they won? Yes. Because I would always rather you be playing for something than for nothing. Can they fix the offense? That's a big question. No, they can't. No, they can't. Would I like to see them do it? Yes. Do I think they will? No. Right now, you are 13th in the NFL in total offense. You are 14th in passing offense. You are 20th in rushing offense. Scoring, you're 15th. You are a hodgepodge of average in everything offensively, and you just faced one of the worst defenses in the league and managed 207 yards of total offense. They are bad. They are dysfunctional. The offensive line can't block. Derek Carr is yelling at offensive linemen. They are yelling back and threatening to fight. You have injuries on the offensive side of the ball as well. You have an offensive coordinator that's in way over his skis. We know all of this at this point. If there is something that would suggest maybe they can figure some stuff out, your 4 remaining games, their combined record is 22-29. The Giants are coming in this week. They're 4-8. And by the way, that's the best defense you're going to face the rest of the way. That's the worst defense you're going to face the rest of the way. They allow 24 points a game. 4-8. They allow 24 points a game. You get that game at home. The Rams, Bucs, and Falcons are all 6-7. You don't play another team above 500. And all of them defensively are about the same. The Rams allow 22 points a game. The Bucs and Falcons, literally, the Bucs 20.8 points a game. The Falcons 20.7 points a game. The Saints allow 20.1 points per game. So Bucs, Saints, Falcons, all 6-7. They're all basically identical. I mean, you put them into a bucket, into a box. You shake it up. You just throw them out on the table. And but for the team colors, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. They're almost indiscernible how similar they are. So the Saints get Atlanta at home. They got to go to Tampa. They get the Giants at home. They got to go to the Rams. Play out this string, see how it goes. I do not think they're going to figure it out. And we are very likely going to be looking more toward an offseason of what is it going to take to get it right. Hopefully, If they do stumble, that'll mean coaching changes from the top on down and likely a change at quarterback. Or hopefully, I should say, a change at quarterback. I don't know if that's likely. But in a vacuum, on a given Sunday, I'm always going to cheer for my team to win unless there's one exception. Unless if there is something very clearly on the line, significant on the line, by losing. The best example was in 2019 with the Jets. I guess it would have been after New Year's of 2020. The Jets. The Jets won in Week 17. It cost them the number 1 overall pick. Jacksonville got it. Jacksonville drafted Trevor Lawrence. The Jets drafted Zach Wilson. And we've seen the trajectory of the two organizations go in different directions because of that. That win hurt the Jets. The Saints aren't in that situation. The Saints aren't vying for the number 1 pick, and they're not going to be vying for the number 1 pick in a year where there's a generational, transformative type quarterback. Ultimately, if you, like I, want the Saints to draft a quarterback, and I've gone on the record with that forever, that I want the Saints to draft a quarterback in round 1. Take your shot. Maybe you hit, maybe you don't. But you can't hit if you don't make the pick. We know the Saints, like Mickey Loomis is an aggressive GM. They'll trade up. They'll use future draft capital. They trade up every draft. There's no team in the NFL that trades up more than the Saints. We saw them trade up for Chris Olave. We saw them trade up for Davenport. This is what they do. So if there's a guy you want, put together a deal, be bullish like you always are, and go get him. But don't let that dictate how you feel now when actual games are being played. Because I want my team to win. I want them to win this week against the Giants. I want them to get it together, string together wins, make the playoffs, and go beat Dallas or Philly in the wild card round of the Dome. That's what I would love to see. I don't believe it's going to happen, but that's what I'm rooting for. So if you're sitting there on Sunday conflicted about whether or not you want your team to win, don't be. You always want your team to win. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.